Take a second stab at her. Everything looks good. Front to front. There we go. Front. And we'll put that head in. This should be the last time now. Welcome back to What's Next Garage. Today we're installing the heads, the exhaust manifolds, inspecting the push rods and rockers. So stay tuned. Now, I'm gonna get everything I need. And I'm gonna crawl inside so I don't have to, so I can manipulate the stupid exhaust manifolds. Stupid exhaust manifolds. Being inside here sure is better than leaning over the top of the front end. My ribs and my poor stomach are all, they hurt. Now the top ones I did not clean or run through with the threads because I looked inside. They're very easy to see and they all looked really good. Should I have run it in there? Yeah, I should have. Was I being lazy? Yes, probably. But now that I had something to eat, I feel much better. At this point, I'm finally putting in the heads for good. So I'm putting oil on all of the threads, getting everything ready to torque down. Using a ratchet, I just go through and bring them down a touch. I don't put any tension on it, and I'm actually following the torque sequence for putting the head bolts down. Some of them are kind of difficult to get to. The ones back underneath the firewall gave me a bit of a problem. Now it's 70 degrees. So I did a little repair on this so that won't spin around as much. All right. Torquing the bolts started out okay. The angle gauge worked out pretty well for the bolts that were easy to reach. However, as I got under the firewall and other places, the angle gauge made it very difficult. I struggled through torquing the remainder of the head bolts with this lousy angle gauge. I should have just marked the socket and marked the flats I wanted to turn and just went 60 degrees per flat and then 90 degrees. It would have been very simple and way less stress than what I did with that crappy angle gauge. So I had a little bit of trouble with the exhaust manifold. I actually had to put a jack underneath to lift it up because when you take it off it sags down. And now put a little bit of never sees on them and we'll run the bolts in. The exhaust manifold bolts were kind of a pain, but once I was able to support it, able to run them in and then torque them down. Hopefully 150,000 miles down the road I don't have to go back and figure out how to get broken bolts out, but I'm sure I will. Some of those exhaust manifold bolts in the back were a bit of a challenge to get to. But it has to get done, so we did it. I use that cordless ratchet a lot. That cost me about $80 on Amazon, And I'll tell you what, that thing really saves time. Not like I'm in any big rush to get it done, but just having them zipped in there makes me feel like I'm getting done quicker. Then finally going through with the torque wrench, and we're good to go. Well, I ran into a little bit of trouble, not really trouble, but just stoppage to my work. So I thought I could reuse the old push rods and the old rockers. I guess I didn't know any better. When I took them out, I actually found, and you could see by me rolling this, that there is actually a tremendous amount of wear. And this engine wasn't ticking really bad, but it did have a minor tick to it. But you can definitely see good push rods versus wore ones. And obviously I'm not going to put those back in. So I had to wait for some new push rods. So I got some new push rods from Competition Products. So they're Howard's cams. Picked them up. They're in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. The company I got them from was Competition Products. So let's take a look here. These actually are written on there, the manufacturer part number, and then the length and the wall thickness. So one thing I wanted to do, put those there, you line them up alongside there, and I wanted to make sure that I had the right stuff. So I brought a measuring tool. So I have a 0 to 12 veneer, and I'm just measuring the length of this, and that is 7/400 exactly. And then when I measured one of the wore ones, so when I put this guy up there, you can see that it doesn't even touch. So for me to get that dimension, it's actually 7/380. So when I do a good one that's not wore, well, there's actually some wear on that one. So there's about 3 to 4 thousandths of wear on this one. So if you're doing it and your engine is making noise, you're really gonna run into this issue. So we're gonna go out with the bad and in with the new. And I was not going to replace the rockers, but you can absolutely see the difference. This one, lots of wear. This one, still really nice and shiny. So I have 6 bad rockers and 6 bad push rods. I've got some Performance X quotient. Now I've never heard of them, but I needed new ones. And there's 8 pairs, and they also come with the hardware. Fits the GM LS 126 Gen 3s with cathedral ports. I actually have a Gen 4. Well, we'll take a look. So they look pretty much exactly the same, other than it has snap rings on there. It has snap rings on the side. So at this point it becomes the heads that probably determine LS6 CNC ported heads. So we have the LS6 heads. So this will work on an LS6 head. We'll use the same perch, and then we'll get these babies in there, and oh man, they're smooth. Thanks for watching What's Next Garage. On the next episode, we'll be installing the push rods and rockers, torquing them down, and continuing with the engine build. As always, have a great day.